The BBC is in crisis after admitting it edited a key portion of former US President Donald Trump's January 6 speech in a way that altered its meaning. Trump has threatened a $1 billion lawsuit, top BBC bosses have resigned, and the debate has reignited global questions about media responsibility. So what exactly went wrong? What does this say about the BBC's editorial culture, and how do we reconcile public accountability with political opportunism? Let's break it down in today's Star Estates. In Panorama's Trump, A Second Chance, two distant parts of Trump's January 6 speech were stitched together to sound like a direct call to confrontation. His peacefully and patriotically line disappeared in the edit. BBC Chair Samir Shah apologized, calling it an error of judgment that gave the impression of incitement. Trump's lawyers called it a deliberate distortion and threatened $1 billion in damages. However, the BBC has denied the allegations of defamation. But the fallout was immediate. Director General Tim Davie and news chief Deborah Turness resigned, and the episode was pulled from rebroadcast. A leaked memo by former BBC editorial advisor Michael Prescott alleged the edit had been flagged internally, but ignored. He called the broadcast completely misleading and indicative of systemic failures. Media scholar Professor Rasmus Kleis-Nielsen, director of the Reuters Institute, said the case resembles the kind of misleading editing that fears of disinformation are built on. Even if Trump's wider actions are debated, he noted this clip created a substantially misleading representation of what he actually said. This isn't an incident of censorship. No government intervened. It is, however, a major breach of editorial responsibility. Editing always shapes narrative, but when it crosses the line from compression to distortion, trust collapses. Public broadcasters funded by citizens have an even higher duty to preserve context, resist narrative shortcuts, and ensure transparency in how footage is constructed. This scandal comes at a difficult moment for the BBC. Its coverage on Israel's war on Gaza, immigration, race, and several political controversies has drawn criticism from all sides. The Gary Lineker impartiality row exposed internal fractures and external political pressure. Media columnist Margaret Sullivan described the Trump edit as a serious and unacceptable mistake, but warned that outrage risks becoming significantly out of proportion. Trump has long relied on a narrative of media persecution. This incident plays very neatly into his storyline. It is also true that he has the right to accurate representation, but it's equally true that amplifying the incident benefits him politically. This controversy forces a hard question onto the global media industry. Can journalism survive if even the most respected institutions falter in preserving context and accuracy? Editing is powerful, framing is powerful, and context is everything. The BBC Trump row is bigger than just one edit, bigger than just one lawsuit. It is a warning about the fragility of media trust in a polarized age. When context collapses, credibility collapses with it. No one is beyond mistakes, either similar or different. However, the warning cannot go unheeded for any media house across the globe. For journalism to remain credible, it must recommit to accuracy, fairness, and context. Because once doubt shifts from the story to the storyteller, the damage reaches straight into the heart of public belief.